Manga Club here at the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Oval. We've just had the very first innings of the brand new European Cricket League. If you are just joining us, I'm Michael McCann, and alongside me is the current Netherlands coach, Ryan Campbell. And this is what we've seen: Mohamed Bhatti with 37 not out, Ahmed Nabi with 22. The others struggling to make an impression as Drew posted 98 for 7.
Yeah, not a bad effort first up there from Drew, 98. Highlights, of course, Mohamed Bhatti with 37 from 23 balls. And he did a pretty good job to get his side.
And he's got him.
And a wicket early on
and
obviously had the replay, the lads up and about from VOC. Side and early doors.
And it's another one. He's actually connected with this a little bit better. And that one is catchable and is caught.
This fielder's in the Netherlands outfit, and as his coach, I'd be very unhappy.
Fletcher in once more. That's Tuja to Bhatti.
You miss, I hit. That's pretty simple.
You mean to the ones you really like.
Yeah.
Crashed away. It's very straight, but
literally because we only have a limited amount of time for your overs.
burning to go. People who invented to the game. And once more, it's a full toss, and it has been deposited. Peterson to bowl his second over from the Las Acacias end, and he's received some treatment. 2 no balls. Sailor, and that is right in the gap. O'Dowd trying to get there. He's done very well there, Matt.
Still.
Right next to those discs.
That is out, my friend.
Well, he's done a Mark Wood from the cricket. Mohamed Bhatti, who is facing. And Bhatti's beautiful.
3 lads with the ball. A couple of dodgy wides and no.
So that was a quick look back at what happened in the first innings. And now VOC Rotterdam heading out in not too long. They need 99 to win from 10 overs in the first match of the brand new European Cricket League, waking up the sleeping giant of cricket in Europe. T10 comp with 8 teams, 2 groups of 4, and we're starting in Group A. This is Rotterdam versus Drew, and then we've also got in this group Cluj, the champions from Romania, and Svanholm, the champions from Denmark. Ryan Campbell. Ryan Campbell alongside me as the 2 batsmen head out. Scott Edwards and Max O'Dowd, both of them Dutch internationals, your boys?
Yep, a couple of Dutch internationals. Max O'Dowd has become a very, very important player in the Dutch lineup in both T20 and 50 over cricket. Generally opens the batting with Tobias Vyce, who is currently over at the Global T20 League. And Scott Edwards, his partner, the wicket keeper, generally bats down the order for the Dutch side, and generally number 4 or 5 for the Rotterdam outfit. Very, very clever young player. Will go, you'll see reverse sweeps, switch hits, sweeps, the sweepologist we call him. Still can't hit a cover drive or a straight drive, but that's just my pet hate. But look, a very, very good player, and of course, you know, they're leading with their strength, and I expect them to go pretty hard straight up.
The number 5 to open the bowling for Drew Cricket Club. Yassine Afridi coming in from our end of the ground, the Las Acacias end. There's a slip in place, and it is a 6-3 offside field. So he's got to bowl to that field. We're in the power play. Men out at third man and square leg. Good start. Swing and a miss from Max O'Dowd.
Plenty of bubble from the fielding side.
Well, look at the chat after that one ball. Goodness gracious me, that was louder than we've heard anything from the VOC boys, even when celebrating.
Little bit of deviation off the wicket there with the brand new cooker.
Trying to take full advantage of it. Piers Fletcher got a lot out of it for VOC Rotterdam. It's a better shot from O'Dowd. No run though, and again, plenty of encouragement from the French champions for their bowler, charging in, trying to make something happen. Yassine Afridi, who's had quite the journey to get here, the 20-year-old paceman, born in Peshawar, Pakistan, moved to Paris last year, 6 wickets in the Coupe de France final, which was a big part of getting them here, and now trying to impress on the world stage. That's a not so good delivery. He's got away with it a bit though. O'Dowd out to the sweeper for 1.
Interesting that O'Dowd a couple of times has come down the wicket. Feels that he wants to limit the swing, create more pace.
Now Scott Edwards on strike. You called him the sweepologist in our series of team preview videos across social media building up to it. Duck, which any good cricket team on tour, which all of these teams are on tour, will surely have some kind of fine system for anyone who gets out without scoring. So it's always a relief to avoid such a thing. For anyone new to cricket, a duck is when you get out for naught. You get out without managing to score a run. Edwards has avoided such a fate. 3D into Edwards. Straight drive, lovely shot, 6 runs. That's what Max O'Dowd can do. One of 3 Dutch internationals in this VOC side and making his presence felt.
Yeah, it's a good cricket shot. Over-pitched and literally didn't try and hit the ball too hard. Just played nice and straight. A little bit of a twist in the hand, the bat, but gets plenty on it. And finishes the over, because at that current point, it was a pretty good over to start with from Yassine.
Well, he almost got out of it without a boundary. 2 off the first 5, but then hurt at the end. So the first over of the second innings of this game will come from the far end of the ground from us, the Las Lomas end.
Scotty Edwards, just out of note, prepared well for this tournament. Him and Corey Rutgers got themselves to Croatia and went to Dubrovnik. Had a few days there. Was the young men. Was
that a social trip?
Well,
to put it one way.
Gathering. If you go to Dubrovnik, you're not there to have a good. If you're not there to have a good time, then you shouldn't go.
6-3 field, left arm over. Wait, no is the call from Scott Edwards, and it's a good one because anything else would have been a disaster. So it's Sharaf Afridi bowling now with number 50 on his back, the left arm paceman. 9 wickets at an average of 28 in the French T20 League last year, an economy rate of 7.7. It is often the case that the pace bowlers in T20 get a bit more tap because so much pace already on the ball that even if a batsman goes for a big hit, it flies off the edge, flies off the splice. The runs still pour out one way or the other. Ace of Afridi.
It's good bowling. Nice and full. Not giving him any length for the batsman to get under. It's power play, 3 overs. Looking around. You'd be hoping 30 or 35, maybe even 40 if you get going, and I'm sure there's going to be some big scores in this tournament, and those 3 overs could be a vital cog to the batting team's arsenal.
Now O'Dowd gets a single, chopped away. We've got Sharaf Afridi from the far end bowling now. Yassine Afridi at our end, so I'm sure you can understand we'll keep it simple for you by sticking to their first names. Afridi on strike. It's a 6-3 field, so we'll find out across the day how different teams are approaching this. VOC Rotterdam seem to have a default 5-4 with 3 out on the leg side, but Drew going for a 6-3 with a slip in play. Edwards down the ground, 1 bounce score. Smart stuff from Scott Edwards. The V isn't his normal traditional scoring area, but he did it with precision there.
to be fair to him, he has worked very hard on that side of his game because, you know, when you're playing international cricket now, you don't have any secrets. Most of the games are either televised or streamed, and the opposition have data.
Good start. Thanks for VOC Rotterdam, and that's what Scott Edwards can do. That's what we were expecting, the ability to hit the ball in different areas of the ground, steps across, opens up the angles, and uses the pace beautifully. And VOC well on top of the run rate early on.
Yeah, that's, as you can see there, just a little shimmy across and helps it on its way with no fine leg. It's going to bring about a change in the field. Mid-off now goes back, cover comes up.
One sense is maybe that shimmy was first practiced in Dubrovnik on some of those socials and being put to good use on a cricket field. Oh. Edwards goes big again, but it might have cost him. It has. The French champions have their first wicket. Shoaib Afridi, the hero to get them here. One of the key men with the ball for them last season, strikes now to break this very promising opening partnership. And Scott Edwards, after a couple of glorious shots, has to walk.
Well, it was a brilliant piece of first bowling and also captaincy, because mid-off went back for that particular ball. They brought deep point up and off-pace delivery. And as you can see, just altered Scott Edwards' swing. And he could only get it, a half bat on it, so to speak. And he sees him on his way, which brings to the wicket now the captain of both the Dutch and the VOC teams, Peter Saylor.
Number 7, Ahmed Nabi with the catch. So important in a format like this, any format of cricket really, you hold on to their catches. They're sticking with the plan, a 6-3 offside field as we start the final over of the power play. Just 2 men out, 1 at long off, 1 at deep third man. That's a very good ball from Yassine Afridi. Read it as well. So the batsman digging it out for 1. Smart stuff from Source.
What I think you'll find, well, particularly from these two, from VOC, is the running between wickets. They'll be looking for every ball, either a single, or if they're not hitting it for 4 or 6, but they will try and manipulate the field by running them off their feet, so to speak. So look for that. A lot of quick singles.
Now gets 1 too long off. And that previous ball was a good example for those new to the game of, it really comes down to that contest between bat and ball, and there is nothing more frustrating if you're a bowler like Yassine Afridi. You've bowled a good delivery and yet somehow the batsmen have still managed to find a way to get a single off it. You want to build that pressure. Saylor facing. Good. Out to cover. Peter Saylor, a man who, to those who know associate cricket, doesn't need much of an introduction. Introduced himself a decade ago with that famous penguin celebration to get Paul Collingwood out in the World T20 at Lords. And it's interesting in the preparation for this, speaking to a few English friends, as soon as I mentioned his name, that was the first thing that came to mind. See, and Saylor has his first boundary of the ECL, his first 6 of the ECL.
It's a good shot over point. Length was too full and too wide. He got a hold of the width, but like Saylor had big shoes to fill, came in as the new captain of the KNCB after Peter Boren. Stepped down after a long and illustrious career with us, and it was a magnificent captain. So, you know, Pete has his own style, Peter Saylor has his own style, and he's gone about it quite well so far.
Another good cricket shot from Saylor. Will be hauled in. Fielded by Mohamed Shazeb. And eventually, after a bit of tag team fielding, overthrows are stopped. And again, for someone new to the game, that's another important part of things. So when a fielder has to go and collect the ball and throw it towards the wicket-keeper, whose main job is to be at the stumps ready to collect it, that you have men stood behind the wicket-keeper ready to sort things out if it goes wrong. Full toss, punished. You can't bowl there to an international cricketer. And Peter Saylor takes advantage. And VOC finish a pretty good power play for them all in, apart from the loss of Scott Edwards.
Well, you're always going to, I think, an acceptable loss. You're going to, you know, losing a wicket in the power play is okay, maybe even 2, depending on how deep you bat. But again, those first 3 overs that you're really looking to try and cash in. As we've seen there, the VOC players playing good cricket shots being rewarded. Now obviously the field will change. There's going to be 5 outside the circle, and it'll be interesting to see if they continue to go hard and maybe hit over the infield, or will they be happy just to hit the ball into the gaps and do the running in the hard yards.
Max O'Dowd to face. That's the man easy to spot with the red headband running through his locks. Gets ready to bowl.
Love a headband in cricket.
Number 14 on his back, Wahid Abdul. Loving that headband. Abdul into O'Dowd. Tickled away. Wahid Abdul, a key part of the side. Got them to the ECL last year, particularly with the ball. 7 wickets at an average of 20, but more importantly, probably the most important figure for a T20 bowler, an economy rate of 6.5, which is very tidy.
Excellent. Excellent.
But of course, that's T20, and this is T10, which for most of these players is a real step into the unknown. Good stuff again, a bit of a cutter from Wahid Abdul. And Ryan, just for those new to the game, how important are those changes of pace and those cutters as a batsman in terms of making it difficult to adjust and
I think with the advent of T20 cricket, we've seen that bowlers, if you bowl the same pace every ball, blokes will just line you up. So the change-ups are so important.
LBW appeal.
You know, pace on for maybe 1 or 2, but then you've got to go to changes of pace. And not only is there just one changes of pace now, you'll find that bowlers have 3, 4 different sorts of change-ups. I think Andrew Ty, for instance, who plays for Australia, he talks about 12 different deliveries.
Yep.
Which is clearly sliding down the leg side there. But look, so you've got to come up, you've got to be creative, you've got to come up with ways, because let's be honest, it is a batter's game.
Absolutely. Batsman's game, if ever it was. O'Dowd, big swing, appeals for an inside edge. O'Dowd isn't going anywhere. Frustration for Wahid Abdul, who's had a very good start here. Pressure building. He hasn't conceded a run from these 4 balls. If you're maybe wondering what that signal was from the umpire earlier in the over, that was a leg by, which means the credit doesn't go to the batsman. Abdul in once more. Could have the first maiden of the ECL. Not this time, though. Max O'Dowd desperate to avoid that fate. You sense that it
would be finable.
You sense that if he, well, heavily finable to be the batsman that plays out the first maiden in this brand new T10 competition, when you're meant to be one of the gun international stars who everyone's looking to. Peter Saylor facing. Swing and a miss.
What an over.
Well, that is brilliant stuff. The tightest over we've seen in this competition so far, as tight as a Yorkshireman's purse, one might say. And that is no disrespect to anyone from that fine place.
Are you saying that you're not going to buy me a beer later?
I was just about to add as a footnote before we get lots of Yorkies complaining that my mother's side of the family are all from Pontefract, West Yorkshire.
New bowler now. Kamran will come on for a change.
Naib Kamran, the man with 55 on his back. Just 19 years old, one of, and then cover point, and also, actually, pardon me, there's a third man out too, so using all of the 5 men they can have outside the circle, and it's a 5-4 offside field, which is similar to what VOC Rotterdam were using.
Just probably guilty of these guys trying to hit the ball a little bit too hard at the moment.
Do you think it's one of those where 50-metre boundaries are almost a blessing and a curse as a batsman, because they're so enticing that it leads you to forget that need to just
keep your shape.
The ball.
Yeah, keep your shape. Make sure you time the ball.
Because you're so excited at the prospect of a glut of 6s.
It's interesting that Max O'Dowd has charged pretty much every bowler, and most of them have stayed nice and full to him, and he hasn't been able to get any elevation, whereas that one, the youngster, tried to bounce him out, so to speak, and cop the treatment.
Cameron on the reply. It is a good reply as well. Potentially we're going to see a bit of football skills there. Reminds me of Mitchell Johnson, particularly once upon a time against England, the old kicking the ball onto the stumps, but it's a little too close for Cameron to get there and get his pre-season football training in.
Well, it was good running. Both batsmen were very aware that they need to keep ticking this scoreboard over.
Got a really good run chase on here. We're pretty much at the exact half point of the chase, and VOC Rotterdam are pretty much halfway there. But what they'll think is that they've only lost 1 wicket, so they've got plenty of batters in the hutch. 3 out on the leg side now. 5-4 field. Straight down the ground towards us, and a couple of yards to our left. Destructive stuff from Peter Saylor. He gets a thumbs up from his national head coach Ryan Campbell, watching on from the box with us.
I'm not barracking for VOC, let me give that thing clear, but that particular shot, Peter Saylor and I have worked on literally all winter, all during the season. We're trying to make sure that, you know, when we're playing a lot of these T20 games and bowlers are on back of a length, you're not just always hitting to cow corner. You're not trying to hit it hard and going one way. It's the ability to hit length straight.
Just got a slight hold up here. The keeper and Max O'Dowd rearranging their gloves, getting ready. Absolutely, when you're a coach and you put that into practice and then it works, it's very satisfying. Batting into O'Dowd. And Saylor will get the strike back again.
And again, same thing, we've been working very hard with him against the spin. We're trying to turn Peter actually in our T20 side as a bit of a power hitter down the lower end. I've no doubt he'll be trying to clear the sight screen up there.
Into Saylor, and it's wide of the man. Crashed away, and Saylor is having a lot of fun here at the ECL. He has 24 off 12, he's striking at exactly 2 a ball. And he's getting VOC well up and above the required number. Well, Saylor seemed frustrated a little bit about something there. I know in the first innings there was a bit of afters about bowler or batsman not being ready when he was bowling. Batty and Saylor. They'll get 1 this time, and it was Batty and Saylor, this same combination, who were having those words in that first innings.
I did see on a lot of the great social media that we put out that he was rated the grumpiest man of the VOC team.
Wide from Batty. Well, Peter Saylor on top, of course. It is relatively early morning. So
well, early morning? Hey, well, that's with kids, mate. This is late.
People tend to be at their grumpiest in the morning. O'Dowd. 1 bounce to the sweeper, and just a groan of frustration from Max O'Dowd there picked up on our stump mics.
Yeah, if anything, Max has tried to over-hit the ball a little bit. He generally just relies on his timing, but again, that allure of 50-metre boundaries.
Saylor fake. Gets this one away for 1. Max O'Dowd certainly not a man without the capability to hit. He once hit 24 off the last over a game to win it with a broken ankle. Now that was in his player profile that he wrote, so I haven't actually had that verified. Batty to O'Dowd, and he demonstrates that hitting prowess. As if he was hearing us up in the box, and it spurred him into action, Max O'Dowd.
Well, again, it's that trying to hit the side screen, trying to play it nice and straight, keep your shape, hit it hard and long, and he gets rewarded.
Max O'Dowd, a man who you'll know better than most, of course, hit a couple of 50s in the 2 ODIs against Zimbabwe and Deventer in June, both T20 internationals as well. He's very capable operator.
Oh, very. He was outstanding in those matches. Of course, unfortunately, Zimbabwe have now been suspended, and we keep our fingers crossed for, you know, what goes on there, and hopefully we get them back playing, because they're an awfully nice bunch of guys playing the game, and we don't want those sort of cricketers lost to the game. But, you know, from our side of things, to beat a full member, you know, in 2 ODIs and then the first T20, and then unfortunately we lost the second T20 in a super over, was just an absolutely fantastic series for us.
New over starting from the Las Acacias end, a change of ends for Wahid Abdul, and he starts on the same line in length that we saw from his first over at the Las Lomas end, single for Sailor. And this is very tidy stuff from Wahid Abdul. So far 7 balls, 2 singles and 5 dots.
Well, they need a tight over, don't they?
Abdul in. Clobbered away on the leg side and clobbered for 4 by Max O'Dowd. Starting to get into his rhythm now.
Yeah, you just get that feeling, and like we said in the first innings, that if you can set a platform by having a partnership, you're going to catch up, and in fact you're going to go at an awfully fast rate. But if you keep losing wickets and guys have to keep coming in and getting started, that's what disrupts an innings. And look, this partnership now is looking forward to putting the accelerator on the go.
O'Dowd once more pumped up now and aiming for us in the commentary box. He's cleared us, and he's cleared the nets as well. That'll keep the ball boys busy for a bit. And the teams have got these very nice branded helmets, and I was genuinely saying as we were handing the gear out, maybe we want at least if you're up in the comms box, and there's 2 that have come into our vicinity.
Well, again, without harping on it, have you noticed that's a short ball that you would be thinking that, oh yeah, I'm going to hit that on the leg side, but drilled over and over again about trying to hit the side screen, and they're really cashing in here.
O'Dowd facing Abdul, who's suddenly getting those figures ruined a bit, and they get more damage here. Max O'Dowd, after by his very high standards, a bit of a pedestrian start, is flying.
Yeah, this is, to be honest, this is what I expected, that these 2 class players, if they got a start, they were really going to cash in, and now they're looking to make sure they get their team home in this first fixture.
O'Dowd once again, and sometimes it's better to be lucky than it is to be good. Well, and he got lucky there.
If you have a close look, he's actually tried to play this late. He's actually tried to hit it there. Probably not as close to the wicket as what was seen here, but if you have a little look, plays it nice and late, just opens the face.
Although I think his heart would have been in his mouth when the keeper was diving. It was a little too close for comfort. 24 from his last 5 balls faced, Max O'Dowd. 2 4s, 3 4s and 2 6s, and add another 1 to the total. He's flying now, and we may well have our first half-centurion in the ECL. Max O'Dowd is loving life all of a sudden. I make that 28 from the last 6 balls he's faced.
Well, it just goes to show too, as a bowler, it's a very tough game where you bowled probably one of the great overs in T10 history, and then you come back, your skipper's looking for another good over, and then it just goes bang, 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 it's out of control, and away it goes, destroys the figures.
Well, Wahid Abdul conceded 1 from his first over and 23 from his second, from one extreme to the other. Brutal format this is for bowlers in particular. But I mean, in general in cricket, who would be a bowler, one might say. Never mind with 50-metre boundaries in a T10 game. So we've got a change in the bowling now for Drew. Ahmed Shadeb coming on, number 2 on his back, bowling his right arm spin. Economy rate of just over 9 and over when he was used for them in the French league last season. He's only a part-timer really. Decent enough start though, and maybe they've turned to him now because they know that they're going to need something different to try and get back into this. They're going to need something extraordinary after that flurry of boundaries from O'Dowd.
And it will continue.
O'Dowd again. And VOC are cruising it. Max O'Dowd has his 50, the first 50 in the brand new European Cricket League. I'm not sure he actually realises it. And belatedly, the applause goes up. Bit of a shrug of the shoulders from him. Then in again. He's got underneath this though. And O'Dowd departs. The ball after reaching his half century. It's been a brilliant knock though, a match-winning knock. 53 off 22.
Yeah, it was an innings full of class. Probably tried to overhit the ball early on, but once he found his rhythm, it was pretty brutal, and he's done a great job for his side, VOC. What will be, you would think, a match-winning knock. Just tried to hit the ball a little bit too hard, maybe even trying to hit it a little bit too straight, if that could be, because it was wide outside the off stump. And a nice piece of fielding takes the catch.
He's trying to fetch it across on the angle, back with the live action, trying to finish it off. Sailor gets a single, and the applause goes up. VOC Rotterdam have chased it down with plenty of time to spare. Or maybe not. There seems to be a bit of confusion. We make it that they are 99 for 2, and that's the target.
I think it is. I think that's all she wrote.
Well, it's a bit of an odd ending because of the confusion over the score, but they have won with 14 balls to spare. We can doubly confirm. VOC Rotterdam at 99 for 2, powered by 53 of 22 from Max O'Dowd. Was a knock of two halves, really. It started with a lot of singles and his timing not quite being there, and then a bevy of boundaries brought a swift end.
Yeah, it was a good performance. Like I say, there's still going to be nerves that VOC are supposed to be ranked #1 in this competition, but there was a few nerves, especially in the bowling early on, a few wides and a drop catch, so to speak, but the batting was excellent. Once O'Dowd got into his groove with Peter Saylor, those two did the job. There he is, the man with the flowing locks.
Max O'Dowd, without doubt, one would say the man of the match. 53 off 22. The only thing that was a bit of a shame was that he got out rather than being there to hit the winning runs and see it through for his team. Also went for one of the most casual 50 celebrations I think I've ever seen, just to sort of shrug the shoulders. This is what I do every week. The Mario Balotelli, the postman doesn't celebrate when he delivers the letter sort of logic.
Well, to be fair to him, it has been runs after runs after runs for Max O'Dowd this year in all forms of the game, both for the Dutch, both for VOC. He played a couple of games early on. We even included him in the A team to start with because his history showed that when he got to the Netherlands, despite him playing in the off-seasons, he actually was starting the season really slow, so we decided to come up with a plan, and that plan was to actually play him in our A team early on to get him into the groove, so to speak, and he made runs in that, and then it's just flowed on, which is fantastic for him to see. He's got a big back after the year, that's for sure, because the Dutch, we have a series against the UAE, and then we have, of course, the World Cup qualifiers that will be hosted in Dubai, where everyone's looking for a spot in Australia for the 2020 World Cup, and he will be a key factor.
Certainly a man who cricket runs in his family. His father was a pro, captained Auckland and Northern Districts in New Zealand in the 90s, and we might well see O'Dowd later on with his quick leg spin as well. We can now speak to the man himself, Max O'Dowd, who is with Avershi Yadav.
All right, so joining me now is the man of the match, Max O'Dowd. You had a really good start.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good start to start like that, but more importantly, we got the win. That's what we're looking for.